when you think about how hospital systems make their money or how they get paid, their main source of income is through the private insurance market. It's not Medicare and Medicaid. We've already seen budget cuts on that.
Their most profitable.
Their most profitable
is commercial.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
Most profitable is commercial. Well, who funds the commercial market? Employers.
Employers.
So employers, you've got leverage with these hospital systems. If you're a big employer, cities, counties, school districts, those types of things, you've got leverage.
Hello, guest. Today we have a broker representative from Marsh MMA. I've known Ryan Franza for many years, and if you've seen our other episodes, hopefully you have. There's kind of a theme that's been developed unintentionally. My first guest was an Aggie, my second guest was a Sooner, and my third guest is an Aggie. And if you know my background, I'm a Longhorn, so I'm not discriminating based on their collegiate preferences. But Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Why don't we start out with you just telling the audience who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So Ryan, you already mentioned I'm an Aggie. So graduated there in 2011. Married a Sooner. So we've got two boys, Crew and Case. They're 8 and 5, about to be 9 and 6. Just all boy and everything. But my background and career, after I graduated from A&M, I graduated with a telecommunications degree and a minor in sports management. So I had no intention of going into insurance, snuck my way into a career fair. It was only for business grads, and I was not a business grad at A&M. Had my resume, dropped it off at a couple different places. Sun Life was one of them. So long story short, got hired at Sun Life. Started off in the Houston office, transferred up to the Dallas office, and then moved over to the broker side in 2012. Or actually, 2012, 2013 timeframe.
Well, let's go back before we talk about your career. I want to dive into some of the things you just said, but I want to stay with the family. So how did you meet your bride?
So Brittany and I have actually known each other since third grade-ish. Yeah, wow. She was a class ahead of me. Didn't really run in the same circles, knew each other, families knew each other. And then after college, got reconnected with her.
So pause there. Where'd you grow up together?
Rockwall, Texas.
Okay.
Yep. So graduated.
Local.
Yep, local boy. So graduated from Rockwall, played golf there, and then obviously went to college. Got done with college, started to make my way back to Dallas and Rockwall. Ran into Brittany. We just went out to dinner, and the rest was kind of history. We kind of knew we were both in some different relationships throughout college and whatnot.
Sure. So it's probably good that you reconnected after you guys went out and experienced the world a little bit.
Absolutely. And so when we started dating, we knew like, hey, this is probably going to be pretty serious. So let's just not make this a fling. Are we going to do this or not? And here we are 10 years later, married.
So you say your two sons, who I've met, Case yesterday was fun interacting with him, all boy, but they also have a new hobby that they both participate in. It's kind of a job/hobby.
Yeah, they do a lot more of this type of stuff than I do. So Crew and Case have gotten into modeling. I have no idea how it happened. Brittany just had a few photos of them and sent it out to some agencies, and next thing you know, they're on commercials and billboards, and I think the most recent one was at a Macy's or something like that for Case, the youngest one, and then Crew had a commercial out in Broken Bow that he did. So yeah, they're
so you have a busy home life.
We have a busy home life.
Brittany's the CEO of a busy schedule.
Oh yeah, she is. She does a fantastic job. So between that and sports, and Crew's gotten into playing guitar and wrestling now.
Oh my gosh. How do you keep up?
When I go to work, it's a vacation. And so the after hours is when the work really starts, it seems like.
Well, good. I'm going to put more on you when you go to work then. Sounds like
I bet you will.
You talked about, went to a career fair. Very few people went to college saying, I'm going to get in the healthcare services space. What attracted you to, when you were going in sports management, you were looking at some other things. What attracted you to those career discussions around Sun Life or whomever it was that kind of pulled you into this career?
when I was a telecommunications grad, I thought I wanted to go into sports broadcasting. Did a little bit of research on that. Had an interview or internship with the Dallas Cowboys, and realized, man, this is a long road to get to ESPN or sideline broadcasting. But I knew communication skills was going to be pivotal in my career. Like that's
absolutely
something that I think now most people need to work on.
Yeah.
So the Sun Life thing, I had another internship with AXA, and I was doing cold calling for a guy named Grayson, who was an external sales rep, and he would meet with financial advisors, and I was cold calling financial advisors to say, hey, AXA's got this new mutual fund or annuity, and Grayson's going to be in town. Can I schedule time for you and Grayson to meet? So I had AXA on my resume, and at the time when I was interviewing with Sun Life, I thought that I was interviewing to go into financial variable sales with them, like mutual funds, annuities, whole life insurance policies. I got all the way out to Atlanta for what they call their rack. And they gave me a manila folder when I checked into the hotel, and they said, hey, Ryan, you're going to be presenting on employee benefits. I was like, all right, cool. And we talking about like country club memberships, car allowances. What do we got here with employee benefits?
You didn't know anything about it.
I had no idea.
Right.
No idea.
You know what that term meant?
None. And they're like, no.
And you're what, 21, 22?
21. Yeah. And they're like, no, life insurance, short-term, long-term disability, dental insurance, vision insurance. I was like,
so the ancillary stuff.
The ancillary stuff, yeah. And so I got up to the room. I called my parents and said, hey, Mom, Dad, I think I made a mistake. I'm interviewing for a job now that I don't quite really know what I'm going to be selling, employee benefits, and I don't know if this is right. And my parents were like, hey, you got to get a job. I don't care what it is. You're off payroll here pretty soon. You need to get a job. So I learned employee benefits over that night, did a presentation, left the hotel in Atlanta, got back to the airport in Atlanta. I was in a suit and tie. As a college kid, I'm like, I got to get out of this monkey suit. So put on a pair of shorts and gym shirt in the bathroom. I'm sitting to catch my flight to Houston. And sure enough, here comes, actually it was Doug Gosney. I think he's still at Sun Life. He was our regional vice president, and he was the one that was interviewing me. He looked at me, he was like, hey man, you look comfortable. I was like, hey, Doug, he's still in his suit and tie.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, I don't really know if this is the correct way of doing this, but we really like you. Do you want to come work for me in Houston? I said, you going to hire me in a t-shirt and a hat? He's like, yeah. So that's where it all started. And I really enjoyed my time at Sun Life. Still work with quite a few of those guys that were in my office when I was there. A lot of them are doing stop loss sales over at Amwins. So it's really neat. I mean,
so how long did you do that? How long was that run when you got
about a year and a half.
Why such a short run?
Because I ended up meeting a man that took me under his wing, mentored me over at Macquarie Henry Bolstroy. His name's Kyle Moss, so I'm sure you know Kyle. And a lot of people probably watching this know him too. And I realized, man, this is a great opportunity for me to excel my career and be on the side that I want to be on, and that's consulting, fixing healthcare, being involved in not just ancillary but all employee benefits. And so I took that jump in September of 2012. So I was only at Sun Life for about a year and a half. And
so you were obviously serving Macquarie Henry Bowles Troy when you met Kyle?
Yeah.
Were you the rep?
No.
Okay.
No. So I transferred up to Dallas from the Houston office. So I started in Houston, transferred to Dallas. And my Dallas regional vice president is a guy named Mike Heffler. And I had a meeting with a broker. He calls me and says, hey man, my daughter's sick at school. I'm not going to be able to make the meeting. And I was like, all right. So I'll go down to Heffler's office and said, hey, I'm available for lunch if you want to get together. My meeting got canceled. And he's like, you know what? You should join me for lunch. Me and Sean McLennan are going to go out. You should join. Just tag on and kind of watch. And Sean's standing right there at the door, and he's like, absolutely not. I'm not taking this rookie with me. It's perfect response from Sean. I was like, yeah, you know what, Mike? Like, I don't think I should go to this. Like, it's totally fine. And Mike's go, no, Sean, Ryan's coming with us. I was like, all right, here we go. This is going to be entertaining. So sat down at Kona Grill at North Park Mall. Kyle was sitting across from me. I'm sitting next to Heffler. Kyle was sitting next to Sean. And next thing you know, Kyle and I are just kind of talking. He went to A&M. I went to A&M. He played golf in high school. I played golf in high school. And he goes, man, you look so familiar. Where do you work out? And I said, man, I'm at Gold's Gym in Uptown right now. And he goes, that's where I've seen you. And from that day forward, it just kind of turned into us building a relationship, right? And then it turned into, mentoring, and
that was a tight knit group MHBT had.
Very tight knit group. Like
Kurt
they were
Johnson,
not
you, Kyle, whom else?
So at the time it was Kirk, me, Travis Sarton.
Oh yeah, Travis.
Kyle, Marcus Humphrey, Rick Bross, Mike Bannon. And then you had your Austin office.
I forget Bannon was MHBT before Marsh.
Yep, he was. So I mean, we've got a great group.
Yeah.
Fred Pacina and Fort
You're
Worth.
all still together.
Yeah. A lot of us are still together. So I look back on that day. If that broker didn't have a sick child at school and I didn't go to lunch at Kona Grill, would I be sitting here talking to you, and would I be on the brokers? I have no idea.
There's your predestined conversation.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's a cool story. I didn't even know that about you, and that's very cool. Thanks for sharing that. I want to dive into, this podcast is really meant to talk to employers and health systems that are really trying to make a difference in healthcare and pushing back. And obviously consultants have a big role in that decision. And this, we've had several conversations where I get really frustrated with the model, and I've kind of migrated away that it's more the model than the people that I'm challenging in the status quo. Yeah. So when you walk over to the consulting side, what are some of the things you originally learned and started to operate inside of an employee benefits landscape? And tell me if those things are still very similar today or if they've changed much.
And so when I walked into the employee benefits side as a broker, we were hot and heavy in healthcare reform.
Okay?
ACA, yep. So September 2012, all employers are trying to figure this out. All brokers are trying to figure this out. So I went from not knowing anything about healthcare to only learning healthcare reform, whereas my competitors, other brokers that have been in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years.
This was another burden to them.
It was like going from reading English to Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't speak any language, so this is all new to me. I'm going to figure this out. Man, now that you asked that question, looking back on it, it's crazy to see how ACA, the Affordable Care Act, did nothing about making it more affordable. Did nothing about making better access to care.
I would argue it made it more expensive.
It made it a lot more expensive.
Right.
When they said, hey, no more prior, or what am I trying to say?
Mandates, limited benefits. What?
Yeah, no. God, I just lost the tongue. Pre-existing conditions.
Oh, no more pre-X.
Yeah, no more pre-X. And then, hey, no more lifetime annual maximums. So basically what it said is if your house is on fire, if you need insurance carrier, you got to pay for it. And by the way, you're going to pay to whatever degree the fire department says it's going to cost. So, hey, insurance carrier, if there's a sick person, you're going to pay for it. And hospital system, you can charge whatever you want.
And reinsurance companies bared a lot of the
reinsurance carriers were like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do here?"
Yeah, it wasn't managing to a trend. Is what do we not know? What's the impact going to be? And a lot of uncertainty.
Yep. And then they said, "Hey, by the way, medical loss ratios, 85%. Right. Insurance carriers, you can't make more than 15% on medical loss ratios." So we know what ended up happening with that.
Well, the audience may not know.
Well, insurance carriers, they didn't get big and rich being stupid. They're going to pivot. They're going to figure it out.
So they're going to shift expenses into that bucket that were traditionally admin fees, and they're now try to bury it into the risk.
Interconnected companies, United Health Group, United Healthcare, Optum, their PBMs, so insurance UMR, yeah. And by the way, you said it perfectly.
Buying physicians.
There are a lot of really good people in this industry.
100%.
The industry is broken. It's not the people that are broken.
Right.
So,
it needs reform. Let's say it needs to be reformed.
It does. It does need to be reformed, very much so. So when you look at insurance carriers and what they did and pivoted around ACA, they brought in PBMs because they're like, okay, well, if our medical loss ratio is capped at 15%, what about pharmacy? And that's a whole other discussion.
Or they became PBMs.
That's exactly right. And when I say they brought in, they just acquired them.
PBMs actually acquired them. If you look at Aetna, CVS.
Well, Aetna, CVS, yeah. That's a great, you think about that. It's like, hey, we don't really care about the medical anymore. We just want all of your
It's the vehicle
insured
to get the
partners, your insured people to come through CVS.
Right.
Just get your prescriptions filled here.
And what we saw is when we started to see these alignments and this shift in the market, what we saw is what? We saw PBM go from 15 to 20% of the spend overnight to 25 to 35% of the spend.
Shoot, on some employers, it's 50.
And you would say, it's specialty drugs. I'm going to say that's part of it, but it's also, it's owning the ecosystem of how you price and push off those costs.
That's exactly right.
So what are the conversations you're having internally with your team and your partners around how do we combat this? How do we serve our clients? How do we cut this off? Because I haven't seen a whole lot of movement. I'll give you a story. One of my large national clients was with the PBM back in, I want to say it was early Healthcare Highways days, so 2016. And we had just picked them up, and they were with a quote unquote independent PBM, was not owned by an insurance company at the time. And Healthcare Highways had started the PBM at that time, which later became Surpass RX. And we wanted to bid on it. And they said, oh, no, we have a transparent PBM. We know where all the dollars are. And we convinced them, okay, that's fine. Will you at least do an RFP and let us compete on that transparent model?
Yeah.
And think about this. 50,000 members. So there's a lot of spend, 47 states. And in a transparent contract, in my mind, you know where all the costs are, right?
Makes sense with
So
transparency.
how did you lower your cost on a transparent contract, $3 million in an RFP with the incumbent? And the general counsel walked in and said, I'm confused. How could you lower my cost if I had the best rates possible, transparent fee structure? Where are these savings coming from?
Yeah.
And they couldn't answer it, and they got fired. We didn't necessarily get the business that year. We ultimately got it later on, but the point of it is what is transparency, right? And I think that's been the frustration where we've seen this movement into no surprises and transparency. But let's go back to my question to you is what are you guys doing to talk about how do we curb, how do we think about PBMs? How are we aligning with them? What are y'all doing?
So I and my team that I'm a partner with, we focus on mid-market accounts. So
What does that mean?
I love employers that are about 100, 150 employees up to a few thousand. That space is, most of those companies are privately owned. Maybe they've rolled up into private equity. They're not so much public. Margins can be very, very thin for them, and healthcare costs are really eating away at their profitability. And so you think about a multi family generational plumbing company that's just grown over the years, and then all of a sudden the son takes it over, and they want to continue to have the lifestyle and everything that they've built, and maybe they want to sell it. Well, health insurance costs, the way that they're rising, that's eating away at the value of that business.
Margin,
yeah. So we work on those types of accounts, and I'm a huge believer in just keep it stupid simple, the KISS analogy. So when we go in, we just tell them, like, look, there's 3 ways that you can really bring down healthcare. Okay, get your people healthier. Good luck. Good luck getting your people healthier.
I think that's a whole nother conversation for me is I say we have a health issue, not a healthcare issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think the model's not incenting people to work towards that, but I'll leave that for another day.
We can talk a little bit about that. So yeah, get your people healthier. You can change where they go for their providers. So like provider A versus provider B, imaging, like we know outpatient imaging versus standalone imaging, that's gonna be less expensive. Or you can change how providers are paid. And that would be through your PPO contracts, and that would be through your PBM. Like change how they're paid, and that's exactly what you do. So I think the best way, and this is where we go, I think the best way is to combine all 3. And in order to get your people healthier, you probably just need to change the front door of where they access healthcare. And instead of it being a fee-for-service model, it's a quality outcome model where maybe that primary care physician is measured on the outcomes of their patient panel. So we talk about that, and then of course the question comes up, well, how do we do that? Okay, well, first off, get off of being fully insured. Okay, you're on fully insured, dude. You're on that escalator. It's going to continue to go up.
Give up control.
Give up weight.
It's pay and pray.
Yeah, if there's transparency,
pray for your renewal. Did I get better than trend or worse than trend?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if there's transparency in healthcare, it's definitely not in fully insured policies.
I would agree.
So get off of that. start to get access to some of your data. And then I'm very blessed to be surrounded by a lot of people that are way smarter than me and external partners like yourself. And so we work together as a team, and we put together different plan designs and funding arrangements for each client based off of their size, the support that they have within their HR staff, where their employees reside in different states, and figuring out what networks are their best and what PBM contracts. And then it's constantly changing, so we're constantly evolving and monitoring it.
I want to tack into that. So this is I talked to Mark Penny about this in episode 1. He's with another firm locally. You guys are the largest firm in the world now. Here's where I think I'm seeing struggles from companies like yours is how do you transform and reform when you're servicing 95% of your block in a BUCA world, because that's the way it's always been. And your team has been trained and relying upon those services and those things, whether it be fully insured, self-funded, is bundle versus unpackaging. And what I see is, it's the team when you put, and I do this with my team, like I might have the idea, but somebody's got to execute on that idea, and they know their lift. They know how big that lift is.
Yeah.
I have to think you guys struggle with that because you have to staff for what you have while you're trying to transform into a new world. How hard is that? Are you dealing with those challenges?
It's extremely hard. I mean, finding good quality people in today's world is difficult. Finding people that want to work, want to make a difference,
but even have the capacity if
have
they
the
are
capacity
working.
to work, yeah, all of that. But we used to say, because we're in Texas, so Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas just owns the market, and
an insured space for
in
sure.
the insured space, yeah. And so it used to be like, hey, you're never going to get fired putting in Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay, it's now the exact opposite.
Really?
Oh yeah, because now I'm going out with these Blue Cross numbers, and it's the same thing with Aetna or UHC or anything, but fully insured wise, and there's 30% increases, and they're not going to negotiate on that.
Why would they? They have no competition right now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it is more difficult for your consultant to take you off of a BUCA type of plan.
I agree. That's the challenge.
Than it is to keep it. And through all transparency, there's broker transparency now, so you can see, hey, there's contingency bonuses, there's commissions, there's fees. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. I don't think the contingency bonus that we have with Healthcare Highways is as strong as the one that we have with.
Because you don't have one.
Exactly.
We don't do that.
Yeah. So, but when it comes down to it, like, find yourself a good consultant that you trust, that is going to work hard, has the team to be able to support and then execute on those goals. That's the biggest thing. Like, everyone can go in there and talk the talk, but can they actually put the program together and make it run correctly?
So what you just said is one of the things I've been promoting is I would love to see transformation. I would love to see consultants lead and change their financial model for new customers based on performance, right? And what I think it looks like is and by the way, I was a 20-year consultant myself. I was part of the ecosystem. I get it. I get the economics of it. But when I would walk in, they got a 30% renewal, and I came in and they got a 9% renewal, and you tell them you saved them 21%. To me, that's flawed. You didn't save them anything.
No.
You cut their increase by shopping it, but you didn't tackle the root cause, what's going on in the plan, what's going on with PBM, what's going on with medical, what is your network strategy. I would love to see compensation models developed around, hey, I'm going to charge you a base fee to service your account and manage your account, but I'm also going to ask for performance-based measurement reimbursements that if you allow me to truly get underneath the hood and manage your plan and truly partner with you to change behavior, I want to have the ability to earn more money based on performance. And to me, that stands out and differentiates you, but it also aligns you with the employer, the employee, the patient, where you're all in it together. Right now, it just seems like when we get paid by an insurance company and we get paid by an employer, we have two bosses. That's bad alignment for the client, right? The end client is the employer. I know you're passionate about that. I know we've had some of those discussions, but how hard is it for you guys to shift in the model that you have today? Is it even doable with the staffing needs? And you said it's hard to recruit additional talent. You've got a wonderful team, but they're maxed out. How do you do this? And that's a real conversation we're struggling with.
Because it's not just the broker, consultant, employer relationship and compensation and how, I mean, if you're going to measure me based off of reducing your healthcare costs, okay, then we're going to have to change all of healthcare. We're going to have to change how hospitals contract. We're going to have to change how insurance carriers pay claims on the fully insured, on the self-funded side, how TPAs, third-party administrators, how they make their money. All of it has to change, because if I go in and I just say, hey, look, I'm going to put in healthcare highways contract, and I'm going to take your billed inflated charge rate and negotiated PPO contract. Well, PPO, preferred provider organization. Well, who's it preferred to?
Yeah,
like I don't know
everybody right now. It's a broad network.
Yeah, well, I don't see the employer sitting down and saying, you know what, I'm going to negotiate that contract with HCA.
Right.
So it's really preferred between the insurance carrier and the hospital system. So
it's actually true.
Yeah. So anyways, but if I go and I put healthcare highways in place and I reduce this whole inflated bill charge PPO arrangement, and it's a 250% of Medicare, and all of a sudden we're coming in at 180% of Medicare with health or HCA through healthcare highways, is that employer going to pay me 50% of that savings? No.
It doesn't have to be 50%.
20%, 10%, whatever it is.
And I'm not even saying it's a percentage of savings. I'm saying, let me give you an example.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that so I can clarify my point. When you work as a consultant, you have a base comp, and then you earn variable revenue based on production, right?
Yeah.
That's standard sales model regardless of industry. And I'm saying employees inside of a company have performance measures where they can earn bonuses, payouts, targets, get aligned with what is our number one issue with our healthcare costs. Let's just say next year it's PBM costs. Okay, Ryan, if you and your team can go in there and build a program with our PBM and drive down PBM costs by 25%, you're going to get X bonus.
Okay. Totally agree.
Incentive-based comp.
Yes. So I was thinking it more on like the macro, like of the whole.
Percentage of savings is dangerous because we
can't
take all the credit for that.
No, you can't. And based off, like, what's the starting point? Like, what are we basing it off of?
Starting off of a bad contract and saving money, it's a bad model. So I'm talking about incentive-based compensation.
Yeah. If you sit down with an employer and you say, hey, specialty pharmacy or GLP-1s or emergency room visits, or you pinpoint the certain things that you want to hold your consultant accountable for and measure over the course of the next 12 months, and you build out some sort of compensation.
And they change every year because once you solve them, you got to move to the next one.
That's it. You're constantly evolving.
But then you're aligned. You're working in partnership.
Yep.
And I just think with consultants, there's an opportunity there. I also believe employers hold the key.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll give you a real life example.
Sure.
I've got a client of mine who their average age is about 55. It's male. So they've got a lot of 67, 68, 69-year-old people that are on their health insurance plan. Okay, they're eligible for Medicare. You can't incentivize people to go over to Medicare, but you can educate them on based off of your conditions and your claims and usage of healthcare. Here's what your employer policy pays, and here's what Medicare would pay. And we've got Medicare experts that go in there and educate them. But they asked us, they said, hey, we would like to have some sort of measure of, can you educate people to be on Medicare and get them off of our group-sponsored health plan?
Or just give them the option. To buy the best health insurance for them.
Give them the option to buy the best health insurance. So that was a struggle for them. I've had issues with emergency room versus urgent care, and it's a lot of education around that. And then it's, okay, did that standalone emergency or urgent care facility start billing as an emergency room in off hours? And how do you get around that? But yeah, I mean, I've worked with numerous of clients that have partnered with me, and they've said, hey, here's our struggle.
Yeah.
Can we come in alignment, and can I compensate you on the outcomes of that?
Right. And the reason I'm so sensitive to this is the consulting world for the longest time, even when I was there, it works off of a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And what I always say is they're trying to make it simple to go in front of an employer and communicate multiple options in a simple way. The challenge is healthcare is not simple, and they're not all the same. And it's more that you should be talking about the things that are different, not that are the same inside of these programs. But I also believe anytime you move to spreadsheet discussions, you are selling a product.
Yeah.
You're not selling a strategy.
No.
And I think that I'd love to see more strategic conversations where, brokers are really trying to be historically the gatekeeper, that everything has to flow through me. Don't talk to my client. And I think there's problems in that. If you're aligned with the client, you should have no fear that you're talking to vendors, because you're a trusted advisor. You probably learned that early on. What's a trusted advisor? You sit with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I worked on the vendor side for a short period of time, like, those are our partners.
It should be.
Yeah. Yeah. There should be an alignment. And by the way, yes, you have a client service agreement, employer, with your broker, but you also have an agreement with United Healthcare or Blue or 100%. Whoever. Like, you need to have a relationship with both, and your broker needs to, or your consultant needs to facilitate that and keep them involved and make sure all lines of communication.
And all you ask for as a consultant is, hey, just communicate back to me what's being discussed so I'm in the loop.
Exactly.
Right.
Or we want to be on those calls too, or we want to help facilitate those calls, right. I mean, yeah, it's the industry is so backwards and broken that it's not going to take a consultant to fix it. It's not going to be healthcare highway. It's going to take everyone to come together to work on it.
Well, I think employers hold the key, because they're the ultimate customer and the payer and they sponsor the health plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see a lot of positive results. I'm starting to see hospital systems wanting to engage those employers and circumvent carrier models.
Oh, yeah.
And let's go back to this whole, network strategy. You said PPO, preferred provider. Right when you jumped in, years before you jumped into the space, there were true strategies. There were HMOs, there were PPOs, but there were PPOs that didn't have everybody in. And then we had a huge shift to open access. Everybody's in, and it went to this discount. But what discount muddies down is discount off of bill charges, and no hospital system, no two systems have the same bill charges. So a 50% discount can actually cost you more than a 60% or 40% discount if it's off of the wrong bill charges, right? So we get into these conversations on, I just had a consultant say, we put healthcare highways in, the savings are so big, and this is not a commercial, this is just the real conversation. I'm almost embarrassed and scared to tell my client what we're seeing. And our point is, it's how bad these open access networks are performing with all that's going on. And a lot of it isn't even around discount, Ryan. A lot of it is around site neutrality language, where they're billing at hospital-based rates. You just saw Congress have them. They hosted all the top CEOs of systems. HCA was there. Yep. HCA was the only one that said there's probably some merit into talking about this, but billing at a hospital-based rate when it's done at a freestanding ASC because the hospital owns it. But they're spreading their cost out amongst those ASCs, and that's their argument. What we want to move to, though, is more strategic, that if we're redirecting care to a lower cost ASC, and we're teaching, really what we're trying to do is make consumers better consumers.
Yeah.
Make employees and patients better consumers. That's what you were talking about earlier. We lost consumerism when we went to open access, because there's no correlation where the member chooses to get care with what they're paying in a lot of plans.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a lot more plan steerage. Shout out to United. They bought the solution, which is now Surest.
Yeah.
And it's having success guiding them, right? We're doing some of that different than they are, but it's at least the right step. But again, what do? They took something, they productized it for scalability. They're all about scalability. I'm more about thinking about every employer as their own ecosystem, because everybody has unique needs, unique demographics,
for sure,
unique buying patterns.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, what are your comments on that and thoughts on that?
Oh, man. So if we're going to go back before open access and these PPO, and you get into the HMO worlds.
You were a pup, by the way.
I was a pup. Yeah, I was. And you were probably middle-aged at that point too. I was a pup.
Yeah, I was old.
Yeah.
I was 20 years in.
As you grabbed your UT cup right in front of me.
I was 20 years in at that point.
You had a relationship with your primary care doctor then.
I did.
Okay. Like, that was the whole gatekeeper. And that primary care doctor, I mean, a lot of them did house calls. They come sit down with you and spend.
I'm not that old.
Well, okay. 50s, 60s, 70s area.
Right.
Yeah. But you get where I'm going with
Yes,
it. Like
that's how it started.
that's how it started. And so you knew this is my person that I'm going to contact for anything that I need in healthcare.
And you might even have their cell phone number, honestly.
Probably you did. Yeah. Like,
or their home number. I don't know if we had cell phones back then, right?
that's you crank dial type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely didn't have cell phones.
Rotary dialed.
Yeah, pagers. So anyways, yeah, so you had that was it. We've lost that. Now, I mean, when people need to figure out where to go see a provider, I mean, I'm sure the newest generation's ChatGPT in it. I mean, Googling.
Dr.
Google. I mean, you had Dr. Bricker with Compass and what he was doing around, hey, just call us and we'll help create steerage. I'm sure Healthcare Highways has similar features. So, but it went from the primary care to just these like bolt-on per employee per month solutions like Alight and Health and Compass and hey, this is going to be your care delivery or consulting care steerage. So you did that, yeah. So that was the next thing to try and push more consumerism into these open access plans, and then you had HSAs enter the market. The issue that I see with HSAs now is they've become such a high dollar deductible that people can't consume.
No.
They can't afford it. They can't even go see a primary care doctor. No. Copays did a problem too, in that it changed what people thought healthcare costs. It's like, oh, well, my primary care provider is $20. It's not $20. You have a $20 copay. You move into the HSA, it could be $163.
Right.
Okay. So
it gave transparency, but it created a different issue.
Created a different issue in that people prolonged preventative care. And then all of a sudden, I've got clients of mine, they're like, why is it that our HSA plan is driving the most claims? It's like, because your people aren't getting the care that they need on your HSA plan. They can't afford it. And so they're ticking time bombs.
Yeah.
So if we can,
and also once they max out, they're like, we got to get it all done because we've maxed out. So anything I've put off, I'm going to get it all done this year.
Oh yeah.
You have spike years.
Exactly. You have spike years. Yeah. So
let me also tackle one thing you said though. Here's one thing I'm going to push on. I mean, you're still young, but you're in your mid 30s. I'm over 50, but here's where I want to challenge us to start thinking differently. I still think in the lens on how I access care. You probably access care different than I access care, but I can guarantee you those under 30 access care different than both of us.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want a relationship in general with a primary care physician. Most of the generation, I have 2 kids in their 20s, and I can speak from this, knowing their friends and growing up with it. And some employees too. Even some employees in their early 30s are like this, where they want immediate access because everything's instant now. They grew up in a digital world. They consume differently. So this whole primary care model, I hear about it a lot, and I think it makes sense for some of the population.
Yeah.
But a lot of the population, it's about access quickly, timely. They'll go to urgent care, freestanding. Some of them will call a teledoc. Some of them will do Dr. Google.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have models that are flexed. They're not static, right?
Yeah.
And we have to quit thinking that healthcare is going to always be consumed the way we consumed it. I can guarantee you, our parents probably had the kitchen table doctor.
Yep.
But that's not the way healthcare is consumed. It's going to be consumed. You're going to see oncology done at home, and it's already starting to be done. You're seeing more robotics. You're seeing more things pushed down to lower levels. And so the model's changing.
Yep.
And I'm not saying what you're doing. I love what you're doing with some of your vendors, with direct primary care, with clinics. I think that's all good. But I don't think it solves everything, and you have to have flex in your programs.
You're right on that. I mean, what we're doing right now is getting them on the right path.
100%.
Okay.
I love what you're doing.
I mean, if I could predict the future, I mean, healthcare 5 years from now is going to be night and day different than what we see. Artificial intelligence entering the space, the transparency. I mean, transparency on CPT and ICD code. You can't read them, but AI can. People wearing Fitbits and Whoop bands and all that stuff, and getting their blood work. And you know how many people put their blood work in ChatGPT and say, "Hey, what is it?" A lot.
Wow.
Okay, so I think where things will go is, and HIPAA is going to have to evolve on this. PHI is going to have to evolve on this. Is you're going to have some sort of AI primary care.
Sure.
Okay.
We have limited access. It's got to come from somewhere.
And it's going to know your quarterly blood results that, a doctor comes by and takes a finger prick at your house, or you mail it in. It's going to know that. It's going to tie into your wearable devices. So it's going to see, how's this person sleeping? What type of stress are they under? How's their resting heart rate variance over the last week? It's going to know all of that. And then it's going to probably alert you, hey, you know what? Like, we've noticed that your resting heart rate has been up, and your last blood results showed a little bit of spike in your cholesterol. We probably need to see you. I think it's gonna get there. I think you're gonna see where people are going to have so much technology on them that healthcare is going to enter into it, and there's going to be some sort of preventative on with having wearable devices and your blood results going into AI. I don't know how it's going to get there, because again, like HIPAA is going to have to evolve on that. PHI is going to have to evolve on that. But I mean, you're talking about the generation of 30 and below. I mean, they don't care about any of their security. I mean, they're posting things on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and checking their locations in and sharing each other's location. I mean, they're pretty much putting themselves out there already. So Are they going to do that same thing on their health?
Well, I think this goes back into the topic of, there's a health revolution going on with peptides, with research, with cancer treatment. I mean, there's going to be cures for cancer at some point in our lifetime.
I mean, personally, I think there already is.
Yeah.
There's just so much research and development around finding a cure. That is,
and there's certain things that are prolonging life already, but that will transform. But it goes into a controversial topic, and I've even talked to some of our hospital CEOs, CFOs around this, is what is the real responsibility? We talk about healthcare, and then you see a lot of politicians, it's a right. I'm like, okay, where does that right start and stop? Do we have to cover all that? Like, why are we covering, things? Where's our responsibility? No one says we have to. And this whole thought of healthcare, you're born with a right, I don't know that I subscribe to that, and here's why. I think healthcare is good, and we ought to all have it, and we ought to make it affordable and accessed. But without accountability, that's like giving someone free speech without reins that you can't be abusive, evil, malicious, threatening intent, right? And to me, not having some accountability for your own well-being, like you said, if you get an alert that suggests that you need to come in your scenario, and you choose not to, and then you have a massive outcome, where's that accountability like? Because today there's no accountability with the member patient. It just falls on the insuring risking partner, which right now in a self-funded environment is the employer,
right?
Which they cede some of that to a stop-loss carrier. So I think that's going to be interesting to think, but I just wish that there was a way to marry responsibility without bankrupting our employees.
Me too. I mean, the cost of healthcare for an employer is per employee per year. It's right around $16,000 and climbing at a rapid pace. Okay. I carry a $5,000 deductible plan on my family, and my employer contributes to that plan, and I pay probably, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's going to be somewhere around $800 a month for my health insurance plan. It's subsidized by the employer, but my cost is $800. So I'm paying $800 a month, and then I have a $5,000 deductible on top of that. Okay, so my all-in expense in order for insurance to kick in is what, like almost $13,000, $5,000 plus $800 a month. Okay, I would totally be fine being individually underwritten for my family. Hey, Ryan, let's figure out what's in your refrigerator, in your pantry. Let's figure out what your daily routine is, how you are taking care of your own health. That accountability, underwrite me personally. Now, I can say that, but there are other people that are like, well, that's not fair, because there are some people that they have chronic conditions that are born with it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
but I think
there's got to be accountability. There's got to be some sort of accountability on, if you are notified or somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, you have got to go in and see a doctor and you don't, and you become a major claim to the employer or to the insurance company, which employers, if you're self-funded, you are the insurance company up to a certain spec deductible until stop loss kicks in. There's got to be some sort of repercussions to that.
Yeah, because what insurance used to be is what you just described. Indemnity plans were underwriting risk. It's how we do life insurance.
That's exactly
It's how
right.
we do every other thing. Because
it's pretty much how we do every insurance policy.
Well, you do it on credit reports. It's
Right.
how you manage risk.
Right.
We shifted, even pre-ACA, but ACA escalated it. We pre-finance healthcare. It's just a financing of spend. It is not insurance in that it's got risk. It has got a finite number you know you're going to run at, right? And so your point, the law of large numbers, which is what insurance and other things are based on risk, goes out the window when the baseline is we have to cover everything.
Yeah.
We don't have any consumerism built in. They can go wherever they want to go, and there's no consumerism. I think what I'm really excited about, I am seeing very thoughtful plan designs being developed around strategies. We have a lot of national clients, a lot of large employers and states that have 100% benefit structures around network strategies, and they're beating trend.
Yep.
People say, oh, I just went to a conference where a large employer said, our whole goal is to beat trend. And I said, why is that the goal? We should be lowering cost. There are mechanisms to lower cost. But if someone's already established that's my goal, to me, they've given up on solutions that can go reverse trend or go downward and lower plan costs. There are absolutely, one of your customers in your firm that I'm working with, one of your colleagues, is going to save 28% next year.
Mm-hmm.
Forget trend.
And by the way, give them better access to care that they can afford.
With a strategy.
With
100% primary care access. I mean, totally, like, there are solutions out there. And so to my point of it is, I'm hopeful because I'm starting to see movement. I love the consultant engagement because the consultants are actually bringing these. Normally, we have to push consultants for these solutions, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm super excited because actually this is being consultant driven. Now, it's being driven because we've performed for 5 years on these accounts, or 4 years on these accounts, and they're getting more and more confidence. And I don't blame y'all. Hard to be confident around something you haven't done.
Yeah.
Which leads to my last point that I want to talk about. I get highly amused, the fun word, when, let's just say a consultant's had an account for 10 years and it's been with the Bucas for 10 years.
Okay.
And let's just say I've had a conversation with their CEO or CFO or both, and they're convinced they want to unpackage, unbundle, and they want to go to the market. I find it highly amusing that they're going to hire the consultant that has no business outside of a book environment to go analyze an unbundled approach and properly assess it. They don't even know where to start. What say you to that?
So I work for Marsh McLennan Agency. We are the world's largest broker.
All right. And by the way, I like you guys a lot.
Thank you.
I don't say that about a lot of brokers. No. I like Mark Penny as well.
Yep. Mark Penny is a great man. There are
I have several that I like.
Right. There are great consultants across all the firms.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so if you know that.
But y'all do have corporate cultures.
There are corporate cultures, and then we have the people make it. Our people are really what separates us.
100%.
We have this. We all have data analytics. We all have the ability to market PBMs. We all have our internal stop loss COEs, centers of excellence. We have the ability to do benefit booklets, open enrollment support, Ben admin systems, compliance, billing and reconciliation. I mean, everything. Okay? Every one of the major firms is going to have those resources.
They should.
Okay? So it really comes down to, is your consultant, and does the team that your consultant is
100%
partnered
right.
with, can they execute on strategy?
And are they the right team? Like, my point is, let's say you had a team inside of your firm that was the scenario I described. Why wouldn't they bring in someone like you or your colleague that has experience that says, look, we haven't done this. And I know it's a comp issue, but isn't that the right thing for the client to say, we need support because we've never done this, instead of they go out and try to do it. And you know what they always do? Oh, you're better off staying where you are. But that's not what the CFO and CEO wants to hear. And I see them get fired for not doing the right thing?
Yeah. So I help mentor about 15 producers here in the Dallas Metroplex. And I tell them, like, look, the Marsh name on the front of your jersey is going to get you a seat at the table, but the name on the back of the jersey is what's going to get you hired or not.
I like that.
Okay. It's going to be your strategy. Marsh has got all the supporting powers.
Well, and I can
people.
tell you, Adam Stadler supports that, which I love because I'm sorry, Matt Stadler too, but Adam as well. But Matt Stadler, your person over your firm, supports that.
Yep.
And I've had those conversations, and I love that Matt is a champion to allow you guys to go out and be innovative, because that's not consistent across all firms.
It's not. It's not. Matt's a great man. Matt actually got hired at MHBT about a week apart. So, yeah, it's
he
great
comes from
to
a
see.
great family of benefits.
Yeah, and I mean, what he's done in his career and where he's at right now and helping lead our firm, we couldn't have asked for a better person to be doing that. Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, I like his vision of pushing the envelope, getting outside the walls of being restricted.
Oh, for sure.
But some firms are really they're stressed and pressured by the large forces. And I think my conversations with Matt have been very, very positive. And by the way, you know this, we do a lot with you guys. We're having some success. Mm-hmm. We're trying to build on that success. But go back to, would you welcome that team interaction inside of Marsh? And does that work? Do you guys work together across lines of, because you guys kind of have teams. Maybe talk about how a traditional consultant builds a team that services their book. They don't work on other producers' books necessarily.
Yeah, and then we bring in
and they have different personalities.
Well, we bring in an account executive that comes from another firm, and their they've been trained and have been working a certain way. So your consultant, I'm a consultant. I've got a team. Got an amazing team lead, great account executives, great account managers, but I'm involved in their weekly meetings, and so they need to understand, like, hey, how's Ryan mentally focused? What's his strategy? What is he going out and selling to these clients? How is he positioning healthcare? Like, my team needs to know that, because if I go into a client or take them out to lunch and I'm talking about unbundling, and the account executive comes in with, hey, here's all the marketing results, and we think that a no market renewal is the best thing for you, and you should keep plan designs the same, and we should change some. There's a misalignment between those two strategies.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it comes down to, can your consultant articulate the strategy, execute on that? And then are the team aligned with his strategies or her strategies? So where I would say within Marsh, McLennan Agency, there are, almost different businesses, different teams.
You have
different
S&E, subject matter experts?
So, yeah, subject matter. Yeah, we've got them all. We're fortunate. Like, I love bouncing ideas off of each other, especially other consultants within the firm. My idea around healthcare could be completely different than, let's say, Travis Sarton's or Kirk Johnson's. But they may be doing some things that I could bolt onto mine. I may be doing some things that can bolt on theirs. So really, when I go back to how are we going to fix it, it comes like, hey, how do we all come together and work on this?
Yeah.
And open lines of communication. So I go back to the firm name on the front of the jersey, get you a seat at the table, but it's the team, it's the name on the back of the jersey that is really going to drive the cost down.
So Ryan, we kind of went all around the world in the benefit space. I really wanted to finish up on, I've said this in a lot of my podcasts, I believe that the pathway forward, and you keep saying that it's everybody involved, and I don't disagree with you, but I think there's some good innovative firms out there doing some innovative things like us and others. Some of the vendors that I've worked with that you've brought in to introduce me to. I still think the employer doesn't understand the power they yield in this space as the purchaser. And we're starting to educate them. I also know hospitals know that they have a big say in this, right? And they're starting to come to the table. And I'm actually seeing hospitals come to the table quicker than employers, which is super exciting. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really interesting to understand why. Hospitals are coming because they are being also leveraged by the carriers, right? They're being leveraged on renewals. You're seeing more and more. It is a proven printed strategy. I've seen it, that carriers' best way to get better rates from hospitals is to terminate their agreements, have them go out of network, and then see who cries uncle the worst, right? And I've seen a published article from one of the Buca's internal messaging that says every time we do this, we gain X% in discount, right? Why is that important? It's important for employers to understand, which is why I think employers can change healthcare with the biggest impact. They are leveraging employer membership and employees to achieve their goal in the auspice of we're going to save you money, Mr. Employer. But those savings aren't passed on to the employee or the employer. And oftentimes it's language in the contracts that allow them to keep more money inside of their walls, right? And the more employers engage in understanding the healthcare ecosystem and how contracts work, and what better way than to go have a third party with you, own your own contracts, own your strategy, understand cost, understand quality, and then partner with a consultant to educate your employees and members to be better consumers of health. I believe that is the way we have to move healthcare. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, and then we'll kind of have some closing comments.
So you said something around hey, they go out of network and then they get to the table and they renegotiate the contracts, and the insurance carrier says, we got a better discount. Off of what?
Right.
Off of what billed charge rate?
And what language did you give up?
What language did you give up? Exactly. So when you think about how hospital systems make their money or how they get paid, their main source of income is through the private insurance market. It's not Medicare and Medicaid. We've already seen budget cuts on that. Well,
their most profitable?
Their most profitable
is commercial.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
Most profitable is commercial. Yeah. Well, who funds the commercial market? Employers. Okay. So employers, you've got leverage with these hospital systems. If you're a big employer, cities, counties, school districts, those types of things, you've got leverage. You just need, well, first off, good luck sitting down with a hospital CFO and trying to negotiate a contract on your own.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right. So partner with the right consultant.
Well, you'll probably get a contract. It may not be in your favor.
It's not going to be in your favor. We talked about that earlier today. Right. Earlier, so I sent you over one. I was like, hey, take a look at it. You're like, do not let them sign that. Yeah. So you've got leverage. Work with the right consultant. Work with the right people like Healthcare Highways. Build in those direct contracts. Build into those direct-to-manufacturer solutions for certain pharmaceuticals, and incentivize your employees to go that route. And when you do that, you will start to bring down healthcare costs, and you will give your team members, your employees, better access to care at a much more affordable rate. So employers, you have leverage. You're the main source of revenue to the commercial market that hospital systems prefer. I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
right there.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, let's wrap up with, one, I want to thank you. This has been really engaging and thoughtful for me. I hope you enjoyed the time. I hope our audience gets value out of this, but I'd love to offer you just the last comments to share with the audience. Remember, we want to talk to employers. We want to talk to hospital executives. We want to talk to other constituents in the healthcare space and vendors, and maybe even some consultants on the hopefully watching this as well. But one, you work for Marsh. You obviously love your environment. You love your team. You made that clear. What are some things or encouraging words you want to leave the audience with today?
There are really good people in this industry that want to make a difference. Okay, they truly do. Find those people, align yourself with them, trust in them, and ask for open lines of communications with their partners. What I will leave you with is, if I put a little PSA plug in there about me, I'm going to be in this business for a long time. I didn't step into health insurance because my dad was a broker or my family owned an agency. I went to school, went to a business career fair, slipped into employee benefits, and here I am. But I see the pain that people are struggling with in accessing care and being able to afford it. I see the pain that CFOs and CEOs and business owners of multi-generational plumbing and manufacturing companies, and they're looking at their bottom line and it's shrinking. I'm on a mission. I'm going to figure it out at some point. We're one step by day to transform healthcare. And I believe with you, Chris, and a few others that we've partnered with, we're going to get there.